Hello, fabulous listeners. Thanks for tuning in to Old Bodies Outside. This is your host, Brian Peterson. This episode's guest is Martinus Evans, who was featured on episode 32. And I recommend listening to episode 32 before listening to this episode. I invited Martinus back because he is releasing his book on June 6th. The title of his book is Slow AF Run Club, the ultimate guide for anyone who wants to run. This book has everything you need to get running and the body you have right now. Learn how to run properly, from breathing techniques to running form and pacing, while also discovering how to feel empowered in your body. Whether you're just beginning to run or struggling to keep up your progress, you'll also have access to tools and resources to help you reach your running goals, including training plans, motivational worksheets, progress trackers, recovery tips, protective cross-training exercises, nutrition advice, and many more effective resources. With this book, you will be ready to lace up your shoes and get running immediately. Martinez, thanks for coming back to Old Bodies Outside.
Brian, thank you for having me, man.
You are welcome. You're welcome. So we recorded, I don't know, maybe a couple months ago. So what have you been up to since then?
Oh man, I recorded my audio version of this book. Let's talk about 3 days locked up into a cave, aka a studio, reading your words, stumbling over your words, cussing yourself out, asking yourself, Martinez, why would you even put this in the book? And then getting that done. So I spent 3 days doing that. And then the other thing is planning a 25 city book tour.
Whoa, that's awesome.
Yes. Thank you.
That is really cool. I didn't know you had that coming.
Yes, indeed. 25 cities will be all over the United States.
When does that kick off?
It kicks off on June 6th, man.
Right
Right
on.
when the book launch, I'm doing press at a major TV show. I can't say just yet, just in case, um, news start newsing. But you can expect to see me on a major daytime TV show promoting the book. And from that day on, we're doing a bunch of amazing things.
Oh, I love it. Well, congrats on getting that going. That's just wonderful.
Thank you.
And so I want to hear, what's it like to sit 3 days into a recording cave? And I mean, is it just like you got to drink a lot of coffee to get through it? How do you get through 3 days of reading a book?
Absolutely. So, I don't drink coffee because it gives me anxiety. So, a lot of tea, a lot of hot beverages, tea, soup, stuff that is not milk based because milk clogs me all up and like clogs up your mucus. So, they tell you just very hot liquids that is not milk based. The second thing, reading your book out loud versus reading your book in your head is two totally different things. And sometimes the voice that you have in your head reading your book is totally different from the voice outside of your head reading the book. So that was a trip. And then, like I said, the other thing was, um, you know, I spent a lot of time in academia. So, I have two master's degrees. I wrote a master thesis once. I've, presented at a bunch of different conferences. So sometimes I can get very academic and wordy. So as I'm reading this book, I remember saying to myself, like, what was I thinking? Why did I let this sentence run for 5 lines long? So kicking myself, trying to figure out how to say that 5 line sentence and keep my breath. That was a trip as well.
Yeah, yeah. So for your second book, Slow AF Run Club Part Two, is that going to be one that you proofread out loud?
Look, the cat go fast. You can run fast. Period. You can run fast by doing this. Period.
Very concise. Very concise. Oh, funny, funny. Okay, so let's hear some more about your book. First off, where can people order your book from?
So, Brian, they can order it wherever books are sold. However, I am doing a promotion with this small indie bookstore called Pocket Books. So you can go to shoppocketbooks.com, and that will be the only place where you'll be able to get an autographed copy of the book from me. So
Nice.
shoppocketbooks.com, you can search for the book there, and every book that is purchased from Pocket Books, I will go to Pennsylvania where they're located and sign all of the books.
That's fantastic. I mean, not only do you get an autographed copy, but you're supporting a local bookstore.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's great. That's fantastic. Okay, so continuing on with your book, what was the primary motivation for writing your book? What was the impetus?
So, I have the Slow F Run Club, and I do a lot of training. So, one-on-one training, also group training, and a lot of individuals come to me and like, "Hey, Martinez, like I wanna, like I'm a book nerd. Like, what books should I read on running? Like, what books can I read in order to get better at running?" And most of the time, my answer is none of them. I tell them don't waste their money on any how-to running book, and they're like, "Why?" And my answer is that most running books, most how to running books, are written by elite athletes, former elite athletes, or coaches of elite athletes, teaching you how to run their way. So, as a beginner runner, as a non traditional runner, a person who may be intimidated about running, like reading that stuff is not going to make you feel like a runner. It's probably going to make you feel like, dang, I can't do this because I can't keep up with the amount of mileage that this professional runner is running. And that can just be defeating. So I wanted a book that I can send to those individuals, but also um, a book that Martinez in 2012, when he first started running, and he went to Barnes and Nobles or Pocket Books to go get a book to pick up all the running books and read them and just feel defeated. I want something for him as well.
Nice, nice, nice. Well, that sounds fantastic. I think you identified a clear gap in the, I guess you would call it, running literature.
Yes.
That gap is definitely there. So kudos to you for identifying that and seeing it, and putting something out there that is for non-elite runners.
Yeah.
So in your book, how do you help people who want to start running but they don't know where to begin?
Oh man, in this book, I provide tons of trips, ticks, and just stories that can help resonate with people. So, for example, in chapter one, um, you versus your mind versus everybody. I talk about how there's a story that I say, don't get on the bus. Is when I ran my first marathon, and I encountered some things, right? And I did not get on that bus. Each chapter has a story just like that, that helps you resonate, but also shows that as a beginner runner, like we're all going to um, go through some things, and we're all going to learn things the hard way, and that's what makes us more of an athlete than not an athlete, right? And then the chapter and the book is just filled with um, just tons of information from training plans. So if you don't know where to begin, I give you a training plan. From form, when you don't know how to do form, I have form in there. From to eating, you don't know what to eat before you go for a run or after a run, I have that in there as well. So every answer to every question that you may have of how do I do this, should I do this, should I not do this, I answer it inside this book.
Nice, nice. Well, that sounds great. And it sounds like a great way to just help people be like relate to the book and feel included in the book, like they are meant for that book, and that book is meant for them.
Yes. I typically, like, what I one of the things that I did when writing this book was I have a running like list of questions that someone asks me when I'm training, and I try to like answer that question, and then I usually just have it on this Word doc. So one of the things that I did throughout all the years of like me training, me running, like I just went through that list of questions and made sure that I answered those. And sometimes it's blatantly answered them. Like the answer to this question is X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Well, that sounds phenomenal. And I was just like imagining people, um, going running to your book with their earbuds on off of Audible or wherever they want to download the audio version. Man, that is really cool to be running and getting that advice while running. Okay, but what about people that have tried running before, but they didn't stick with it? How does your book help them?
Oh man, I have this mindset chapter. I keep talking about this chapter, right? You versus your mind versus everybody, right? I get into, some top questions that each runner or somebody that's like, hey, I can't run because of X, Y, and Z. I myth buffs that straight out, flat out. I myth bust every single objection that somebody may have of I've tried running and I can't do it, and then I let them know here's why you can't do it, and here's how you can overcome it. The second thing is that I have a chapter called Goals for Days, Months, and Years. This is for people who have, got on this cycle, what I call fits and spurts, right? When they get active and then they stop, and then they get active and then they stop. Like these individuals can't get the momentum to continue to run. So one of the things I do within this goals for days, months, and years chapter is help them figure out like what are their goals, what are the things that they value, and take on this journey so that then they can have values, goals, and then also what are the habits in order to help you meet those goals. All of that is in chapter 9 of this book.
Nice, nice. I really like that value aspect too. I think that's really, really important and is really a place where to meet people in the middle and help them, get back out and go running and have fun with it and have fun with the journey of it.
Yes. And I would say that's the other thing, is that a lot of people, when they think of running, they think of Olympics. They think of somebody running fast as all get out. And what they don't know is that yes, you can try and strive for that, but a whole nother thing is that you can just run just for the fun of it. You can run just for the fitness of it. You don't have to run to try to win. You don't have to run to, compare with somebody else. Brian, the comparison is the thief of joy, and that's one of the things I want people to know is that you don't need to compare yourself against anybody out there. You can only thing you need to do is compare yourself and get out there and start to run.
Yeah, yeah, no, I love that a lot, and that's have a lot of self compassion. You don't need to sit there comparing yourself to other people, trying to fabricate some self esteem or something or whatever it is. I think that self compassion, identifying who you are. Hey, I'm just gonna have fun with it, no matter what the outcome is. I'm a runner. I love that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so one thing so that is associated with running is people like, gosh, like I often get injured right away. I'll be get like 3 weeks into training and then my right knee's hurting or my IT band is hurting. So how does your book help people run injury free?
So one of the things that we do in chapter 8, cross train or die or risk injury, is we talk about all of the things that come along with running, right? The first thing is understanding the difference between discomfort and injury or discomfort and pain, right? I think a lot of new people don't understand, they've sat on the couch or sat in the chair in front of the computer and not necessarily moved their body um, in a way that they're now using new muscles when they start to exercise. So a lot of people see that discomfort as pain, like, oh, like my muscle is sore, oh, this hurt, like it this hurts, but it's not pain. It's just more of like discomfort, right? So getting people to understand that there's discomfort, there's delay onset muscle soreness, and then there's actual pain. So really understanding what are the difference between those two, and then understanding, what type of activity you can do when you have those things. Like what are something you can do when you like, oh, I'm a little stiff, like I had this run, I worked out, like should I not run today, but I'm a little stiff. And we give you all types of scenarios and checklists to say like, okay, is this happening, is this happening, is this happening, and you can go nope, nope, yes, and it's like great, you can go for a run. So we have that in the book. And then the other thing that we have is um, this chapter is loaded with 4 circuits of beginners exercise circuits that help make sure that your muscles your tendons and your joints can be stronger, but also help provide that protective factor as well.
Yeah, Martinez, that's really smart stuff. Like helping people identify their bodily signals, how to work with it. I've never heard that before, and that's just fantastic.
I tell you, man, like literally any questions that I've encountered, I answered it in this book because that was the question that I had for myself, right? Like, is this pain? Is this discomfort? Or is this sore? Like, am I sore from working out? Like, is this what soreness, like when somebody's like, hey, like I just worked out and I feel sore, but it's like, is that good soreness? And you start to think to yourself, like, is this the good soreness that I think I should be, like, I should be enjoying this? Or is this like soreness from pain? So that was one of the things that I encountered. And I just wanted to let people know that you're not alone. And these are the good sorenesses and these are the bad sorenesses so you can continue to be active.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's fantastic. I got to imagine with running, there is a lot of self evaluation, and you got
Mm,
to kind of be coached on that. Like that's not something that just comes normal, and especially with something that is very physical like running.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so then okay, keeping people injury free, that's in the book. Also, what about like the nutritional stuff? Like there's a lot out there about like crazy like dieting and stuff and this and that. How did you hit on the proper nutrition aspect?
Oh man, that is chapter 4. Carbs are good, F diets, and other running nutrition. One of my
F
favorite
diets.
titles. Uh, one of my favorite titles of the book, right? And I think that in this world where we are bombarded with tons of diets, right? Or fad diets, you should do this, you should do that. You trying to lose weight, do this, so on and so forth. One of the things that I tell individuals right off bat is that if you're trying to run and like be a runner and lose weight, go pick a different exercise. Go pick a different exercise because the typical things that all of these fad diets tell you to do probably won't work for running if you're doing it right. So, for example, I'll talk about all the times that I ran marathons and gain weight for a marathon training cycle versus people like, oh, you running so much, like why you haven't losing weight? And it's like, well, all the mechanics that come along with it. So we go through that. And then the other thing is that we go through all of the building blocks of nutrition. So we talk about what carbs do, what a protein does, what a fat does. Also talk about how water and salts and electrolytes also helps and plays into that as well. We talk about all of that inside the book. And then the other thing that we do is that we talk about timing. So, you're finna go for a run. You're going for the run for this long. Um, how much food you think you may need, and how much time you need in between those runs, um, before the run as well as after the run as well.
Yeah, gosh, I'm really impressed with the depth that you put in this book. How long did it take to write the book?
And Brian, I've been waiting all my whole life to write this book.
It's been going on for your whole life, and then you've been digging it since 2012.
Yeah, I've been look. You know what they say? You've been waiting your whole life to write a debut book. So it took me about 18 months to write this thing, but I would say literally my whole 10 years of experience of running, training individuals, answering the same question over and over again, um, really prepared me for this book.
Yeah, yeah. Earlier on, you mentioned you have a couple master's degrees. I'd say you pretty much have a PhD in running. So, in the introduction, I mentioned something about feeling empowered in their body, which I think is a really
Mm.
powerful thing. So, how does your book help people feel empowered in their body?
Oh man. So one of the things that this book tells you or helps you find out is that it helps you figure out um, the mindset of being an athlete, right? There's a mindset that comes to being an athlete, doing something over and over again for excellence. So one of the things that um,
I saw that bug flying around right there. He came right in for your forehead.
um, so one of the things that we talk about is what is the narrative that you're telling yourself as a person who's starting to run? What is the narrative that you've subconsciously or consciously took in from out the world that has told you that you're not good enough, that you're not a runner, that you can't do all of this stuff, you can't succeed? What is that narrative? And then after we figure out that narrative, how do you bust that narrative?
Nice, nice. Yeah, gosh. All the psychological aspects of your book, a lot, there's a lot of mental aspect. Running has a big mental part to it. And I
Mhm.
love that you brought a lot of these mental toolboxes to it.
Absolutely. The thing about running is that it is a allegory for the rest of your life, right? Running a marathon, like everybody always tell you, right? It's a marathon, not a sprint. So as a person who actually ran 8 marathons, like I understand what they mean. And running is just an allegory for life. To understand that um, you're gonna start off slow, you're gonna build up, you're gonna get into it, and then you want to get to the finish and raise your hands victoriously. And it's a whole process to do that. And during that whole process, like running may bring up ugly feelings, thoughts, emotions that you may thought you buried in the deepest of tombs that will come out of you.
Yeah, no, I think that's absolutely true, and I think that with life, things are goals are awesome, but they're far down. It takes consistency and sometimes just little baby steps. You don't have to go and do something real big right away, but kind of get confident, get comfortable with it, and keep going with it. And I think like yeah, running, there's a lot to it that is an allegory of life. I think that's really cool to say. I've never heard someone say that.
Yeah.
Nice, nice. Well, let's transfer over to you have your book coming out on June 6th, Slow
Hmm.
AF Run Club, the ultimate guide for anyone who wants to run. You also have this online community that you mentioned earlier, and I wanted to hear a little bit about that because I think the two together are just so powerful. So let's transition to hearing about your online running community. And so, first off, what is your online running community about?
So yes, the Slow F Run Club is by far the best community on the internet for slow runners and walkers. Right? We have a mission of getting 1 million people to start running in the body that they have right now. So
Nice.
like this is that's our mission, right? Our mission is to empower every person on this planet to become a runner in the body that they have right now, and our goal is to get 1 million people to start running. Currently, we have about 10,000 members worldwide inside of this community, and we provide them with education, motivation, and inspiration to start and continue to run. So, one of the ways we do that is by having our weekly sessions. We do weekly lives. We also have a, a certified personal trainer who comes in and do live workouts. We have nutrition plans inside of there. We have training plans inside of there. And then overall, it's just an amazing community. So one of the things that a lot of our members do is that we meet up at various races. So we pick races that we're going to run. We meet up, we have fun, we celebrate, and we fellowship. So like that's the other thing about our Slow F Run Club. And then another thing that we're currently working on now um, is that we are in the process of launching a nonprofit arm for the Slow F Run Club called the Slow F Run Club Foundation. And with
Wow.
the foundation, individuals will be able to apply to launch their own in person Slow F Run Club in their own particular neighborhood. So that's something else that we're also thinking about as well, or like in the steps of doing as well, so that you know we started this thing as a virtual thing, because it started up right before the pandemic. The pandemic happened, we went all in on a virtual community, and I think we've done a great job there. And now the next logical step is to bring an in-person component with there. And I think the best way to do that is by launching this nonprofit, so that individuals can really help grow this mission bigger than anything that I could ever imagine it would be.
Wow, that is just so phenomenal. I love it. And one of the things I love about running is that overall the barrier to access isn't super bad. You know, I mean, I think
Mm.
that like if you can afford some running shoes, the rest of it's relatively affordable. If you have some streets around you that are safe to go running, you can go and do it. But you know, at the same time, there is the aspect of like, well, how do I go about and doing this? I never, you know, I was only taught running in middle school and high school when I was in trouble. It was I was disciplined with running. How do I flip this into something positive and as a fun journey, right? Like so I think
Right.
getting that nonprofit going, gosh, like Martinez, you have been up to a lot since we last met.
I'm a busy man. I'm a
You
busy
are,
man.
you are, and I think like you're absolutely right. Going from the virtual aspect to the in person aspect, like that's a transition that needed to happen. I think you're doing it the right way, where there's going to be these individual slow AF run clubs across the country, across the world. That's just awesome.
That's my goal, is to really make this Slow Your Front Club the synonymous with anybody that's like, hey, I want to start running, or hey, I'm slow, or hey, I'm too fill in the blank to run. We're your people. We want to be able to support, help you, and also know that there's a community of other people out there who are also going through the same thing that you're going through, and you're not alone in this journey.
Yeah, you're not alone in this journey for sure. And talk about like just boosting societal health. You know, going to the hospital, getting going and seeing doctors. That stuff is so expensive, and you know, getting out, becoming a runner, or getting back into running. You know, that can hopefully decrease the amount of medical bills in the future and whatnot. So I feel like you're just boosting societal health too, not just physically but also mentally.
Absolutely. That's one of the things that I do say, right, is, what if the cure to America's healthcare crisis is joy, not shame? And I think, we spend a lot of time shaming people, telling people eat this, not that, do this, not that, finger wagging. Oh, you doing that? Oh, you're a bad person. Oh, you're eating paleo. Oh, you're a bad person. Oh, you're a carb eating person. Oh, you're a bad person. Oh, you only eat vegetables. Oh, you're a bad person, right? Like, what if we just took all of that stuff out of it, all of the shame out of it, and provide joy instead of shame?
Yeah, no, I love that. And I think that with shame, it's often given as unsolicited advice too, which is
Mm.
just like, I don't like, who wants that? And joy, there you go. You know, I think that's
Yes.
definitely something that's, going towards helping boost societal health mentally. There you go. Yeah. Okay, so the Slow AF Run Club, I don't know if the nonprofit's been released yet, but where can people find more information now, or ultimately find more information about that?
You can find everything at slowafrunclub.com.
There you go. Okay, so that's easy. SlowAFRunClub.com. Nice. Okay, continuing on with the Slow AF Run Club. Um, I saw on your website you had some guiding values there. And
Hmm.
I think I saw four of them. What were those four guiding
Oh
values?
man, our guiding values. So first thing that we always like to tell people is we have this saying. It's called "Together in the Struggle." That's how much this means to me in this community, is that we are together in the struggle. And so by being together in the struggle, there are four values that goes along with this. First thing is perseverance, right? Perseverance is persistence in doing something despite of the difficulty and the delay of achieving success, right? Second thing is positivity, right? Having a positive attitude can make a difference between a good day or a bad day. It's the difference between falling and failing. It's the difference between wins, losses, and or learning, right? Keeping that positive mindset. The third thing is determination and dedication, right? So it's one thing to persevere, but it's another thing to have that powerful tool of determination and dedication to help you get to the finish line and let you know that you're going to reach your goals. And then the last thing is courage, right? We believe having an inner courage. We don't turn away from the difficult things because they scare us. We actually turn towards those, and we tackle things every day because we want to put our bravest foot forward every day.
Gosh, that's fantastic. Those guiding values, I think, are really, really helpful for people feeling like, okay, I can do this. We all are kind of doing this. We're together in this. That's fantastic stuff,
Yeah.
Martinez. That's really cool. Okay, so hey, let's kind of get towards wrapping up the episode here. But I did want to ask you, what are some ways that you think running culture can currently change to be more inclusive?
Oh man, I think the first thing is that if you're not a professional runner and your job is not to, and if your job is not to win medals and get them podiums and things of that sort, break records, running culture needs to not take running so seriously. I think that is the first thing that I can think of. We got to stop taking this thing so seriously. I understand. And here's the thing about running, right? And I may have said this in the last episode. I can't remember. But running is the only sport that I can think of where the novice can run on the same course or be in the same field as the professional athletes. So if you run Boston, New York, Berlin, any of the world majors, you're able to be on the same course in or around the same time as the professional athletes. With that being said, that then puts a lot of chips on people's shoulders, like, oh, I should have been there, I could have been there, yada yada yada. Which then it's like, well, if the professional athletes is doing this, well, I need to be able to do this as well. And the answer is no. Your race is your race, and their race is their race. If you're not running to make a living, running to win championships and awards, you don't need to take yourself so seriously. So I think
Yeah.
that's the first thing, and that's my camera started to go away from me.
I was able to see your roof there. That's okay though.
um, so that I would say that's the first thing. The second thing is understanding that your pace, how fast you run, does not make you a better or worse a person. I think if we all understood that whole notion of it doesn't matter how fast you run or how slow you run, that does not make you a morally better person than somebody else. That goes back into like taking yourself too seriously. And then I think the last thing is that we need to celebrate everyone as equal. Yes, running 26.2 miles in 3 hours or under 3 hours is an amazing feat, but also running 26.2 miles is amazing feat, period. If you
Period.
ever heard about the story of marathon or like the Battle of Marathon, the guy died. Like
Jeez.
he died. Nobody ever talks about that. The dude ran a marathon at the Battle of Marathon to go tell them the war is over with. He gave the message and he died. So we need to be able to celebrate the feat, the amazing feat that comes along with doing these long distance races. Like, regardless if you come in first place or if you come in last place, we all ran the distance and we all need to be able to celebrate that because of that.
Absolutely, absolutely. And going back to one of your earlier points, I've heard it so many times from people being like, "Oh, like I'm not going to run this race because I'm too slow or I'm not a good runner. That's not my sport or whatnot." And oh, get over it, right? Like you can do it.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like it's not even like to get over it. It's more of like trying to provide psychological safety. I don't know if you ever heard this term, right? But like I think that's when people say, "Oh, I'm not a runner," or all these other things, it's more or less like they don't think they have they don't think they have the safety to call themselves a runner because they think somebody's going to call them out on it. So we
Yeah,
need to be able to provide psychological safety so that people can name and claim themselves to be that they are a runner and they are the runner they want to be. And we're all just trying to get better each and every day.
yeah, yeah. No, psychological safety is important for a lot of things with running, and I'm glad you pointed that out. It's something that is very, very important. And when people do feel that psychological safety, they're going to be more inclined to be a runner and go running. Okay, Martinez. So we're wrapping up here. Is there any last things you'd like to say about your book before we call it an episode?
Yes. Go pick it up. Go pick it up from Pocketbooks, shoppocketbooks.com. It's the only place you will be able to get the book, an autographed copy of the book. You can get it there. And then, yeah, check us out, slowefrunclub.com. Help us get to our million runner goal. join the club, participate. We'll love to see you there.
Awesome. Awesome. I love it. I love it. Well, hey, Martinez, thanks for all the good you're doing for this world. I think you're making a great impact on societal health. So really appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you, Brian. I'm really glad that we can have me back on.
Yeah, yeah, you're welcome. Okay, I'm going to throw on that outro music and we'll call it an episode.